Good evening and welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful. I am Angela Oliphant, your host, and I am so glad that you all have joined me tonight for another night of information, revelation, and change. These past couple of weeks, I know I haven't had a live show. One week I had some technical difficulties, and then the following week it was going into Easter, and it was so much that was happening and so much that was going on that I didn't do a live show. I decided not to do a live show that night. But I'm back, guys, and this is live, and I'm here, and I'm so excited about being here tonight with you all. I want you to I want you to comment, I want you to share this show with somebody. Let them know that Whole and Beautiful is on, and we are ready to just go forward and have some fun on tonight. I'm still doing my couples conversations. So if you know of a couple that you would want to be on the show, that you just want to learn about what they do as a couple, how they are as a married couple, how long they've been married. It doesn't matter whether they've been married 30 years or 3 years. We want to talk to them, maybe even 3 months. We want to talk. We just want to get to know who they are and get to know about them and how they interact together as a couple. I'm still doing my mentoring moments, and I am looking for some men out there who are mentoring other young men, or you just have a mentoring program that you're mentoring everybody. I would like to talk to you and I would like to interview you. So, guys, if you know these people and you think that they would be a great guest on Whole and Beautiful, send me an email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com and have them send in their information, or you send me their information, and I will contact them to try and see if we can get them on the show and just have a conversation with them. I'm looking forward to some things that I have in my mind and in my heart planned for the show. So I'm looking forward to those things also, and they'll be coming up pretty soon. So, guys, I ask for your ideas. If you have some ideas and you say, hey, I would like to see this on Whole and Beautiful, or I would like you to research this, then send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will research it. I will search it out. I will find out all the information that I can about that particular subject, and I will bring it back to you so you can get the information and you can get revelation and you can begin to change, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to begin to change. And hello, Bernice Clark. I am glad that you are here on tonight. I'm just going to share some things with you on tonight. Tonight's show may not be as long as my other shows. Who knows? Because you never know. Whenever you say that, then you end up going over, right? And you end up talking more than what you thought you were going to talk. But tonight, I just wanted to share with you all about finding your roots, about finding out who you really are, about going in and finding out the history of who you are. If you saw the show, it's been a few weeks ago. I had a show where I sat down and I talked to not my husband. I don't have a husband. Oh my goodness. I talked to my son. Okay. I talked to him about some things that was going on, like as far as like generations. And we talked about the different generations, and we talked about how people want to put a wedge in there and say, oh, you're from this generation. Hi, Christina Harrison. How are you? You want to separate. People want so much to separate each other, and with these generations. But we talked. Hey, Josie, how are you? Hey, my mama is listening tonight. She see me tonight. Hey, mama, how you doing? But we see all these different generations, and we try to separate them, and we don't need to separate them. We need to bring them together. We need to realize that we are all human beings. We all have feelings. We all have the same basic needs. And sometimes we separate ourselves from each other and say, oh, well, I can't talk to this person because they're too young and they don't understand, or I can't be around this person because they're older and they wouldn't understand, and everybody think that the other person wouldn't understand. What I have come to learn is that we are all human beings. We all go through things. We all have our ups, our downs. We all have our great moments. We all have our bad moments. We are not as far apart as what we think. And we need to realize that so that we can begin to love on each other and begin to pour into one another. And that we will begin to find out who we really are. I watch this show and I watch it as much as I can called Finding Your Roots. It's on PBS. I all the time miss it on PBS, so I pick it back up on YouTube. But I think it's just so interesting to see how they go in and they find out about these people's families and they come back and they bring them all this information. Some of these people don't even know who their grandparents were. They don't know who their great grandparents were. They really don't know that much information about them. And sometimes we take it for granted that we have our grandparents, or I had my grandparents and I knew information about them. I was able to spend time with them. Some people were not able to spend time with their grandparents because by the time that they were born, their grandparents were already gone. And we need to really sit down and talk to our parents, talk to our grandparents if they're still alive, talk to those sisters, those brothers, those people, and find out about who you really are. Find out your history. A lot of times during this like day and age, sometimes I look and people are not even really sharing their history with each other. They're not talking about where they came from. They're not talking about, things of the past. And sometimes things in the past is hurtful, but it's helpful. We need to know who we are. We need to know. I want to know, my dad. I wanted to know about his family. I wanted to know about my mom's family, where they came from. I want to know about the different things that happened when they grew up, because sometimes we think that we're so far apart and we realize that we're so close. We are so close when we really sit down and we start talking to each other. I have gone to nursing homes where I have volunteered and sat down and just talked to them, let them share about their lives. And I was like, there's so much rich history. There's so many things that happened in these people's past, and they just want to share with somebody. They want to be able to pour into somebody their experiences and let them know, hey, you don't have to go that same road. I went that road and this is what happened. Or this is my history. This is where I come from. In my family, we do. And they go on and they tell you about what they do. Because if you go back and you track in your family, you will find a pattern. You will find out that certain things that happened in the past are yet happening today. As in the Bible, it says, and y'all know I'm a church girl. So in the Bible, it says that there's nothing new under the sun. So different things may be feeling like it's different for us that happened to us, but it's already happened before. And we need to be able to sit down and talk to our moms, talk to our dads if they're still with you, talk to other relatives that are there, and find out some of the things that that you may not know about their history, just to find out who you are. What did I come from? Who did I come from? What kind of legacy, is there? What kind of rich heritage is there that I may be missing? What are some of the things that may have happened that, man, you know what? I don't want to repeat that. So I want to come out of that. And I want to do something different, because you can always do something different, because we're individuals and we are different. But I'm telling you, there's some things that you do that may remind your mom of her mother. May remind your dad of his dad, and you're sitting there and you're looking at them and you're saying, oh my goodness, they remind me of this person. Or, oh, they remind me of me when I was their age. And they're able to share so much with you. I've watched so many different people find out about their heritage, find out where they came from and how their family lived and the different things that went on. And they are so excited. Some of the things, like I said, that they found out were hurtful, but they realized, oh, that's why this happened. And this is why this went on. Oh, that's why. But it causes us to come closer together, because we start to realize that our moms, our dads, they once were little people. They were once, 5, 6, 7 years old. Sometimes we look at them now and we don't think, oh, they weren't 5 years old. They just came out, grown. But no, they grew up. They had a life. They had things that happened when they were little. They had things going on in their lives. They had thoughts about different things that they would accomplish and different things that they would do. And why not sit down and carry on a conversation with them and find out about their life? My son went and he started doing some research on our families, and he found records of like great great grandparents, and he found all these different things that was going on in the family. And you find out where this person worked, what type of job they had, and then you find out all these different things. Like with my granddad was very creative. My granddad on my mom's side, my mom's dad, he was very very creative. He would come up with stuff like that, and do different things, and we laugh about some of the things he put together. But he was able to put those things together. Nobody gave him like a blueprint and wrote the thing out for him to see it. He saw it up here and he did it. He planted gardens and stuff and grew, so much food that they were giving food away, and he still had food left over. And my grandmother loved flowers, and she planted those flowers and they would flourish. You could tell her yard from anybody else's yard. And you have people in your family that are following along those same guidelines. And if you didn't know that your grandparents walked in it, you wouldn't know that they could do that. It's like so many different things that they had on the inside of them that they poured into the rest of the family. And we need to realize, we have a rich heritage, and we need to find out who we are. Find out who you really are. Because even in the word, I like reading the Bible. I tell people, when you find out who Jesus is, you will find out who you are. Why? Because you're supposed to be hidden in his word. So the more you learn the word, the more you learn about you. And you should be able to learn more about you as far as who's my mom, who's my dad, who are my uncles and my aunts, and where do they come from? What do they work? What are their desires? What did they desire to do when they were a teenager? How was life when they were a teenager? Sometimes those things don't fascinate other people, but it fascinates me, because I would love to go back in time and just sit and be able to kind of watch it like a movie, and see the different things that happened, because the world is so different now than it was when my mother was growing up, than it was when my grandmother grew up, when my granddad grew up. The world is so different. And I would love to go back and see what things were actually like. How did they grow up? What things did they do, And we need to carry on some of our traditions, I say, and the different things that we did in our family to establish a sure foundation for our children, for our grandchildren. I remember my mom reading the Bible to us, and I have this Bible right here with me. Y'all look, oh, it's old. And you see that Lord that's written on there. I did that with some nail polish back in the day. But when I got that Bible and I began to look at it because of some things that we're getting ready to do, I went back and I looked at it and I was like, man, I remember my mom reading us stories from that Bible. I remember her having a Bible study and teaching us. And then at the end of our Bible study, we would have like a picnic and we would have fun. I remember getting Jell-O, for our little, desserts and different things, little treats and stuff that we would do. It was so much fun. She taught us the word, just like my grandmother did. My grandmother, her mother, taught us the word, and she taught us to pray. They would not let you go to bed without praying. You had to pray, every single night. You had to pray. They took you through your prayers. So I grew up praying. And now when I go to church or I go somewhere and somebody asks me to pray and I don't have a problem with praying, they was like, well, how you do that? Honey, I've been doing that since day one, seems like, always been praying, always hearing my grandmother pray early in the morning when we would stay over when my mom would work. And she would get up early in the morning, her and my granddad, and they would pray early in the morning. And they wouldn't make you get up for the prayer in the morning that they would pray. But at night before you went to bed, you can best believe you were going to be praying. And I thought about that. I said, what are we doing with our children? What have we done with our children? What have we done with our grandchildren? Are we teaching them those same principles? Are we talking to them? Are we sharing the word of God with them? Are we sharing with them the heritage of where we came from? Are we taking them and saying, hey, you know what? It's dinner time. We're all going to sit down to the table together and we're going to eat. We're not going to bring our phones to the table so that we're sitting there on our phone the whole time and, eating a little bit of food and watching something on our phone. No, we're going to put the phones down. We're going to put them aside and we're going to sit down and we're going to actually talk to each other and have a dinner together. So many kids now get their plate, they head to their room. They go sit in front of the TV. They go sit by themselves and do their own little thing and eat their food and then just put the plate. I'm like, no, we need to come together at some point during the course of the day. When my kids were growing up, I had them all, we would all sit down to the table to eat dinner. Okay, y'all can be in y'all rooms, as much as you want to. Go watch a little TV, go do what you're going to do. But when we have dinner, we're all coming to the table. We're all going to sit down and we're all going to talk to each other. Because I want to know how your day is going. I want to know what's going on at school. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know, what's happening. So you're going to come to this table and you're going to sit down and you're going to eat and we're going to talk. And that was our time to talk. And I remember going like to my grandmother's house on like Sundays. Everybody would come there and they would eat, they would sit, they would talk to each other and spend time with each other. People would go and they would visit each other back in the day, when we were younger, that we would go with my mom and my grandmama and different ones. They'd go visit and go see how people were doing. And now today, everybody, it's all about the phone. It's all about the electronics. Nobody's going to check on anybody. People don't even know who their neighbors are. They don't know who the neighbor is. If something was to happen, they couldn't even reach out to a neighbor. They got to call a relative if they even talk to their relatives on a regular basis. I try to make it a point to talk to people. Do I send texts? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because I have so many people that I want to keep in contact with, and I'll shoot them a text sometime and say, hey, how you doing? Or have a good morning, have a great day. I try to do that. And with my brother and my sisters, I try to send them text messages every day to say, hey, good morning. Because if I don't get a chance to sit down to have an actual conversation with them, at least I sent them a text. I try to talk to my mom at least once a day. Why? Because I want to keep that connection going, because I love those people who are around me and I want that connection. We sometimes we don't connect with people, and you need to. Do you know who your neighbors are? Do you know anything concerning your family that you said, that's something I can go in and start searching out and start looking at? Because maybe the reason why my son or my daughter is loving this, or because they're grabbing a hold to so much and they have so much energy, or they know all these things and they have all these talents. Where is that coming from? Where is it coming from? Find out. Who was it in the family that they may have reminded you of? Or who was it in the family that was doing those things? And then now you got this generation that's picking it up and walking it out. We need to find out who we are. We need to find out who our parents are. Hi, Diane. I am so glad that you joined me on tonight. It's great and it's wonderful for us to find out who we really are. Where was your family born? What city were they born in? What state were they born in? Can you go back and visit those areas? You know, can you go back and look at those old houses? Are they still there? um can you go see the land, where this person grew up? That is just awesome, because even when I'm thinking about going home, when I go home where my mom lives, I can go and she can show me different things in the area where they grew up, different places that different things happen, and we can go back and look at different things. While you have this opportunity to go and find out all of this information, do it. Enjoy it. Find out the information. Back in the day, that meant so much to our grandparents, to our parents, to know where you come from, whose family you were a part of. Even in the Bible, guys, they have it where it's like so and so begat so and so begat so and so begat so and so, and they got this long genealogy of where these people come from. And it's a reason, because we need to know where we come from. We need to check out our roots. When you, this weekend, talk to your parents. If your parents are still here, talk to your grandparents, talk to somebody in your family and say, you know what, we need to start like a history for our family. They have so many outlets today where you can get books made. You can take pictures and have all these different pictures in there. You can write down different things on different pages so that you can have a book of your family, a book about you, your family, how y'all grew up, where you lived, the houses you lived in, the places you went, the things that you learned growing up, the different things that they may need to know, where they can pick up that book and go back and see their great great grandparents, or they can go back and they can look at, this was my aunt, and she lived during this time, from this time to this time, and this is what she did. These are the things that she accomplished. This is how her life went. Write down those things. Come up with your own history book for your own family, and find out as much information as you can. Now they have it like where you can get your DNA check. You can find out, where your roots are, where you come from. Do it, find out those things, because you never know. You never know. That could just mean so much to somebody to hold a book, long after we're gone. They can pick up that book and say, you know what, that was my grandma. And my grandma lived from this time to this time. And then before her was this, my other grandma, my granddad, and they can go back and they can look and have something tangible to hold. That is so precious. And that is so meaningful to have that. Because some people say, you know what, I remember. No, as you get older, sometimes you start to forget, and those things start to run together, and you're like, oh, was it so and so? Was it this person? While it is fresh in you, while it's fresh in your mind, begin to write those things down. Begin to write those things down that meant so much to you. Come, get them all, put them in a book. I'm not saying that you got to publish this book to give out to the world. Get the things and put them together so that your family can go back and they can look and they can see where they come from. Your children, your grandchildren, your great grands, they can go back and they can look and see where they came from and what their legacy is. In some families, you have people who may have been gardeners. You have in some families, they may have been painters. You have in some families, they may have been preachers. When you go back and you research it out, you're like, oh man, so this person was a preacher, and that person was a preacher, and that person was a teacher at the school, and this person, was a gardener, and they did this. And you start to find out where your creativity comes from. You start to find out why you're drawn to certain things that you're drawn to, because it came down through your bloodline. It came down through your family. And we need to realize that family is very important. Very, very, very important. It is important that we have family. There's so many people that don't even talk to their brothers, their sisters, their aunts, their uncles. They are not speaking to anybody at all and don't even care to. And I don't want that to be me, and I don't want that to be you. If you're listening to me, I really don't want that to be you. I want you to make amends. I want you to try to talk to that family member that maybe you haven't talked to in years. I want you to be able to talk to your brother, your sister, and to unite with them. Am I saying that you got to be with them 24 hours a day, every single day? No. But I am saying, break down those walls, because when it all boils down at the end of everything, it's not even going to matter. Those little things and those things that you may even deem to be big things, see if you can find the forgiveness in your heart and say, you know what? I forgive them. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep living. They're going to keep living. And as long as we're living, we're going to be unified and we're going to be one. Why? Because we love each other. And we need to establish that foundation with our children. Because I see that with so many children now, they don't have that foundation. They don't have that foundation of the prayer. They don't have that foundation of their parents sitting down and taking the time to read with them, or read to them, or giving them a good book, or sitting down and doing movies with them. They just let everybody just live their own little life, and they don't even really sit down and talk to their children and say, what's going on with you? How was school? Establishing that relationship with them so that when they get older, they will talk to you. So that when they get older, they was like, oh, I can go talk to grandma, or oh, I can go talk to my auntie, or I can go talk to that person because they're going to listen to me. Instead of them saying, you know what, man, I messed up. I ain't going telling my daddy. I ain't going telling my mama at all. And they running off in the other direction. They should be able to say, man, I messed up. Man, let me go call my mom. Let me go call my dad. Wow, are they going to correct me? Yep, they're going to correct me, but they're going to love me in the midst of it. They're going to they're going to know, okay, she did this wrong, but she is coming to us, and we need to provide that space where they will come to you, even though they know they're going to get corrected, even though they know, it may not go over real well, but I know that my parents love me. I know that they're going to correct me, but I know that I can go to them when I mess up. I don't have to run away from them. I don't have to run away and go to somebody else and try to talk to somebody else. I can go to my parent. I can go to that auntie, to that brother, to that sister and say, hey, you know what? This is what I did. I messed up. And I know that they're going to love on me. And I know that they're going to help restore me and help me get on the right track so that I can be all that I can be and be who I'm called to be. We should not be ashamed or feel like we have to run away from our family to be who we are. We need to be able to run to the family, not away from, but to. In your messed up situation and all, just like we can run to the Lord. He forgives us. And we need to be able to have that same forgiveness in our families, where if they come to you, yes, I may say what the correction needs to be, but I may not say it at that moment. Why? Because I'm going to love on you at that moment. I'm going to talk to you. We're going to have some conversations. And then, yeah, the correction may come. But the thing about it is, you need to feel the joy, and you need to feel the comfort in knowing that if I come, I'm going to be okay. If I messed up, it's okay that I messed up. It's okay that this thing happened. It's okay. But I'm going to come and I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to be all right. Family is our foundation. And if our foundation is messed up, then you know what? Our businesses and our workplaces are messed up. Our churches are messed up. Everything else around us is going to be messed up if our families are messed up. We need to establish that family bond, that family, unity with each other. And not for it to be fake either, be like, oh, well, we're just going to do this. No, look at the people in your family as human beings. Sometimes we put them high up here and we have this great expectation and we put them way up here. And when they don't meet it, we be like, oh, forget you. No, sometimes they're not going to meet that expectation. So what do we need to do? We need to see them as human beings. They have faults. They do stuff they have no business doing, but you're still my family. I'm still going to love you and we still going to move on. Just like I said before, does that mean we're going to be buddy and we're going to hang out every day? No, that doesn't mean that. But that means you're my family. I love you and I'm going to stick with you. And we need to establish those things with our children so that you don't have that breakup or that breakdown of the family where people now are not even spending time with each other. You don't even talk to them. I mean, I couldn't see it. It's like, how can you go all these years and not even talk to your sister? I can't see that in my mind's eye. I can't see that. If they did something wrong, okay, they did something wrong, whatever. Let's talk about it and move on. If we don't talk about it and you don't want to talk about it, it's okay. We just gonna move on because you're still my sister, so I'm still gonna be there for you. You're still my brother. I'm still going to be there for you. I'm still going to help push you and help, do whatever I can do for you. Why? Because you're my blood. You're my sister. And sometimes we do so much more for people who are not a part of us, like our bloodline. We do more for them than we do for the people who we are kin to. And sometimes we are more forgiving with somebody who's not our kin than we are with those who are. And we need to realize that everybody's human beings. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody goes through things. We need to just build a sure foundation so that that foundation will continue to grow in our children, in our grandchildren, in our great grandchildren. We need to establish it, and it shouldn't be something that's forced. It should be your lifestyle. It shouldn't be that I'm trying to drill this in your head and beat you with it and say, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you that, because we family. We supposed to be family, No, just live it. Live it. You want somebody to call you and they don't call them. If they're not calling you on a regular basis and you want that phone call on a regular basis, call them. If you want that text message on a daily basis, text them. Pour out to somebody else and keep pouring. One day it's going to pay off, guys. It will pay off because you're planting seeds. So you just keep pouring. You just keep checking on them. You just keep talking to them. Even if it's just to say, hey, how you doing? Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Whatever you do, try to create that unity and that tradition and that foundation in your family so that your family will continue to flourish. Long after you may not even be here, your family will continue to flourish and it won't be a breakdown of your family, but they'll continue to build up. They'll continue to grow. You'll continue and you will leave a legacy. You will leave mantles, if you will, of what has gone on in your life that will happen in theirs that will be great. Are there some things that we don't want to follow after? Yes, there are. But you can change those things and say, you know what? My dad may have done that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to move in the opposite direction of that. I'm taking from that. I'm going to learn from what he may have done wrong. Or I'm going to learn from what that person did wrong. And I'm going to do it right. but that doesn't make them less of a person. That doesn't make them less of your dad or of your uncle or your mom or your sister or whoever it may be. Love them because they're human beings. When I look at these shows like Finding Your Roots, and I see how people were not even acknowledged, especially people of color, not even acknowledged as being human beings. Their marriages were not acknowledged. It was, they were treated really like horrible. And to see that I have this freedom today that I have, and and to even think about some of the stories that my grandmother used to talk about, and to just to see, to go back and to look at my grandparents, and even my mom, my dad, and to think about them as being teenagers, and to think about them as being human beings, not just my parents, not just my grandparents, but human beings, and what they had to face and what they had to go through, and for them to continue to move forward and to press forward and to be who they are today. My dad is not with us, but for my mom to be who she is today, for my grandparents to be who they were, it's amazing to me, because they went through far greater things than what we may be going through right now. It's relevant what we go through, but think about what they had to encounter and the different things that they went through, but then yet they're still here, and yet they're moving forward, and yet they're going forward. And that is great, and that is wonderful. Guys, I just wanted to share with you tonight how much your family is important to you. I want you to love on your family this weekend. I want you to have fun with them, laugh. Start a movie night with your family, Start a family day. My son and his wife, they have decided they have Oliphant Day, and when they have Oliphant Day with their kids, they take them out, and it's a family fun day for them. And I started doing like Christmas. I'm having Christmas sleepover with my grandkids. So I started it last year, and I'm going to continue to do it. We're going to have Christmas sleepover, the Christmas party and a sleepover with them. Last time we didn't get to do the sleepover, but I want to do the sleepover. So different things that you may want to start that maybe haven't been started, start them. Different things that you want to do to establish your family, do it. It's never too late. It's not like you're starting over from scratch. You may start over, but it's not from scratch, because now you got knowledge, you got wisdom, and you can say, hey, we're going to start this. And every year we're going to do this. Every year we're going to do this thing right here. And that's going to help me establish my family. And it may start out that not everybody's coming in the beginning. It's okay. Continue to do it and continue to live a life that is great. And you will see how they will start to come in, because you're being consistent. You need to be persistent, and you need to be consistent, and you will see things begin to change. I am so glad that you all have joined me tonight. Start that prayer with those kids, teach them how to pray. Start that outing with your grandchildren or your children, or just that little get together that y'all do once a year, where I'm going to be with family during that time. I'm going to be with my sisters during that time, whatever the case may be. But do that. Start that. Call somebody this weekend that you haven't talked to in a long time. Let them know that you love them, that you are thinking about them, and that you care, because we need that. We need that. Call them and share a laugh with them, Just have fun this weekend and enjoy your family. Do something with your family this weekend. Even if it's one family member, do something with them this weekend. Okay, guys, this is all that I have for you on tonight. I pray that you have the most amazing weekend, that you enjoy each other, that you realize that your life means something to somebody else. So make sure that you try to make the connection so that y'all can continue to grow and flourish together. I am Angela D. Oliphant, allowing you to see, to hear, and to know that whole and beautiful is not just your destination, guys. It is most definitely your journey. Join me again next week at 7 p.m. I'll be right here and I'll be ready to share with you. And remember to send me those emails at wholebeautiful@gmail.com. I'll be looking for them, and I'll be looking for different people that I may be able to interview. How about that? We're going to have a great time, and we're going to just continue to just love on our family this weekend. Make sure that you make time for family, okay? All right, guys, until we meet again, my whole and beautiful nation, love you. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.